is not the stage you're used to seeing. It's the right bar. 3 dummies.
3 of us are normal.
And actually, 3 dummies, 3 special guests, and another guest that you can't see because he's on the other side of the camera. So
You'll see him come in and get whiskey and then go back out.
So because we didn't have a review this week, and obviously that's the first time that this has happened in over 4 years.
Yeah.
So shame on us. We kind of let one fall, but we've been distracted the last couple of weeks with this guy's travel. Drew's out of town on vacation. You're going out of town again next week on vacation. It's just been a madhouse. So we missed a review, and to make up for it, we've got some special guests who've been wanting to come down anyway. Yep. And it's kind of a party. We've always told you to bring a dram and pull a chair up. They took us up on the offer.
I've been telling this guy that he's an unpaid intern.
Right. So
does he know that yet?
Let me introduce who's in front of you in the camera, and then we'll get to see who's on, because there's a bunch of people that's on. So if you guys are familiar with Greg Bowers, we've seen him on chat for a long time. We've spent some time with him at some of the events around Indianapolis. He's a local guy, so he has the luxury of coming by and seeing us.
And we yelled at him because we're like, you literally here. Why are you not coming over?
You should.
Same with this guy.
So yeah, he's a little bit further, I think.
A little bit further.
Yeah. Sunday evening Scotch.
Greetings.
AKA Mike Porter.
Drinking your good whiskeys.
And you too.
He did. They both brought some good whiskeys too, as you'll see here.
That's why the bar looks like
I had to pay my tab. So.
And then Fred is one of my coworkers, and he's a cigar guy and a bourbon guy, but I'm going to convert him to Scotch.
So we're working.
So we're it's a process. You tried some good stuff tonight, though, right?
I have. It's very good.
And I let him smell the White Walker, but not actually taste it.
Oh, breaks his heart, I'm sure. You know what? He can take the bottle home.
So who do we have on
Consolation
tonight?
prize.
Who's here joining
All right,
us?
so
I saw somebody from Germany.
I'm going to start backwards and go up. So Bud, Brad, Trooper Henry, Jason, V, Bob H, Wheelhouse Whiskey. Hoagie's on tonight. Hey, guy. Hey, Hoagie. Nocturnal, Trooper Henry, Matt McCain, Drew Bills is on. Hey, what do you know?
Drew
Bills. Man, who all we have here?
Wheelhouse Whiskey.
Michael Porter's here.
Michael Porter, Walt Minion.
His wife's on.
Shout out to his wife.
Mark J. G's in.
Greg's
Christopher
there.
David. Greg Bowers is in. What?
I just know some water.
How does he do that? Jimmy T.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh my gosh. And Matt McCain got the first tag for the day. I got first-ish, but
So what's everybody drinking tonight?
That's the key. Part of your responsibility as being a viewer is to put down what you're drinking.
Exactly.
So, we're on live. Yeah, so we happen to have a little bottle of this Edredor straight from the cask that I think 3 or 4 of us
I've got it.
are drinking.
Got it, Greg.
Yeah, I had to go there because I almost
tasted it.
bought that, and then what talked me out of it is I saw the size, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, that price for why am I?
Yeah, see,
the
it's a
rest of
little
the
bitty bottle.
Yeah.
It's a little bitty bottle.
But Wheelhouse Whiskey and Michael both bought. I think Wheelhouse Whiskey got more than one. I think he really loves
Oh my
this
gosh,
one. This
he
is a
knows
special
It's
one.
really good. Did you try it?
I haven't. I've just been nosing. I've been.
Do you have it?
So what do you get out of it? Is it? It's not leather. There's something almost gummy. I mean,
It's
What's it finished in? It's PX.
it's straight from the cask, so it doesn't matter.
It's Oloroso, isn't it?
No, really?
I'm not entirely sure.
Someone tell
But
me.
it's
what
a single cask.
Yeah, I know.
So it's gonna have your bust it out.
It doesn't
It's
have
like
that Oloroso.
brown sugar and cinnamon toast.
Mhm.
It's got a little
That's
bit of
a toast.
cinnamon.
It's the toast. That's what it is.
It's got the toast.
James
got
says
the,
it's Oloroso.
That's what I
like,
thought.
thick brown sugar. It's really nice.
Yeah, burnt toast or just toast?
It
Just
doesn't.
toast.
have-
Slightly
I'm
burnt.
not-
Well, it says sherry butt, which honestly,
Mild
if
toasty.
it just says
Yeah.
sherry butt, the safe bet is Oloroso.
The
Yeah,
intern wants to try a little bit of that.
Try it, please.
It's-
Wow.
You
So
want
we
some of
we
this?
got
Need to
man, we
taste
got
it.
everybody. We got Lagavulin. We've got Aberlour cask Anam.
Can't get on.
Yeah.
Gunfiddich 14 bourbon cask, Kilcairn 8 cask strength.
59%.
A little bit of my first Isla.
Oh, Log 16 John Smith. That is a great first Isla. That's a
If
great.
Bud's on there, he'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Might not have a teapot when you go home.
So Longroad 18, OP 12, States 10 Bordeaux. That is fantastic.
Oh, is that what Bree's drinking?
She
No.
said you might finish it off.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's see who else. Oh, so
That's nice.
Bob H is drinking the Deanston 12 Palo Cortado cask.
It's different. There's something different.
Highland Park 12, Oloroso. Yeah, so it's great.
Smells amazing.
So it's oxidized a bit.
Yeah.
Chuck Food Reviews is asking about moonshine pickles, which we haven't had. I haven't had them.
All right, that's
So
hardcore.
it'll be interesting.
All right, so what's on our agenda
What's our
tonight?
agenda, Mark?
Mark?
Reading text messages from Bob H. No, that's not part of the agenda. That guy, I'm telling you. So what do we have? We're going to do a couple things. We've got a conversation that we have to continue that we started 2 weeks ago with regions. This week we're
Yes.
talking about
Lowlands.
Lowlands. So hopefully you guys are ready. We got to talk about some Scotch in the news. Everybody wants to talk about these new tariffs now that are hitting us. And,
I don't want to talk
Well,
about
yeah.
it.
Luckily,
exactly.
prices aren't changing yet.
But there's also some fun stuff to talk about in Scotch in the news, so it won't all be depressing to talk about taxation and all that
Yeah.
crap. Want to throw a plug for something that started today.
Oh, yeah. We were just
Somebody
talking about
we
that.
all know jumped on a plane in Chicago today and is going over the pond. Right now, she's probably halfway over the Atlantic somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
On her way to Iowa.
Yep.
Jealous. I am totally jealous.
Got my coin of hers.
Scotch
on the
Bayou.
Bayou, you guys, has started her journey, so hopefully safe travels to her.
Hopefully she'll be taking over our channel a
That's
couple
the
of
goal.
times.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
If you guys don't know Lee or her story, she is a super awesome person. Like just the best kind of people. And she submitted to a contest to aha! Welcome to the Scotch Club.
Drinking White Walker.
We've got a man down.
So she
We
submitted
told
to
to
a
drink
writing
White
contest
Walker. Yeah.
on a whim to go to Iowa to do this class. And it was picked by the president, prime minister, Minister of
One
Scotland.
of the departments. Yeah.
Scotland.
Okay.
Scotland.
Yeah.
She
First
actually
minister.
she read through the final like 7 or 10 submissions and picked Leanne to be the one to go. So she's on her way to where's she flying into?
I would say
Dublin first, or-
Edinburgh.
Glasgow, maybe. I don't know exactly, but she'll be in Iowa in a couple of days, and she's going to start a class to learn. Like they have a huge lineup. She's going to learn about peach. She's going to learn about yeast. She's going to learn about the distilling process from like the distillery master at Bruichladdich,
Right.
or
Visiting the
there's
distilleries
some
too.
really cool people that are going to be like people that are the people that do it for a living,
And have been doing
are going to teach her all about that stuff. So she's going to be writing blog posts as she's going through all of this, and we're letting her take over our channel to just kind of talk and share some of her experiences because we think it'd be really cool. And she's been a subscriber for like since the beginning, since we had like 200 people that were watching us. So we're really excited for her, and it could have been a nicer person. So Leanne, when you watch this, good luck. Take lots of notes. Enjoy yourself. Don't get too stressed out. Like live in it a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's it. That's
the
Don't miss the moment.
So part of the problem with being, in the community with YouTubers and stuff,
social media.
you always want to be taking video, but then you miss out on what's going on. And
Right.
she put too
We've
much
had that
in.
happen.
She's putting too much into that experience that quite honestly, I hope she doesn't take a whole lot of video. That she spends some time enjoying. Maybe as a camera, she needs like a GoPro attached to her chest, and then she just lets it run for the entire day, and then she can cut it together.
If I got to dig Pete, though, I want a video of that.
Well, yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Put that GoPro on your chest, put it on time lapse, and just let it go all day long.
Just start digging.
She
Right.
so much.
It's going to be awesome. So
Keep an eye out
for that. It's
what's
going to be
going
really
on.
cool.
Right. And then I think we're going to get into what everybody brought. I think the second half of the show is probably going to go into
We've got a couple of
what's on.
I'll
What's
tell
on
you
the
what,
bar.
I would like to comment on the stuff that you guys did for the last review, the older bottles.
Yeah, so we did a vintage lineup. Andrew and I did
3 weeks
vintage
ago.
a couple weeks ago. Drew was filming. You were out of town, you missed it. I thought since we had these guests over and Sean didn't get in on that I would bring them over and let everybody try a sample because they are unique. They're different.
I
You're
can
not
tell
gonna see
you
them.
that we've done some lineups. We did that low shelf lineup for
Yeah.
travel and stuff
Yeah.
that had most of these. It was
J&B
Chivas and
and
J&B and Doers and Johnny Red, I think,
Yeah.
Cuddy. And I vividly remember not getting a whole lot of flavor out of most of them. you know. And then I poured the J&B tonight from the mid 80s.
Early mid.
It's like night.
It was actually really good.
It's
Yeah.
it's
got a sweetness
malty
to
and
it.
flavorful. It's crazy how good
Right.
it is. And you know, so I always thought that it was nutty that people back then like Scotch and soda, right? And
I
I'm
don't
like,
blame you
why?
for that.
Like it doesn't taste now. Why would you want to put some soda water on it? But I mean, it's got good flavor. So they were, you know, God knows what they were mixing back then because it wasn't what they're mixing today. I can tell you that right now. They're like 3-year-old barrels. Let's put that in with some grain. You know, when back then they were like, what are we going to do with this 30-year-old whiskey? It's starting to go bad. I guess mix with some grain whiskey and see what we can do with it. No, that's too much grain whiskey.
Right.
Had so much stock on him.
Which that'll tie into our conversation on the lowlands because a lot of that grain comes from that particular region.
So I would say that if you are ever out and you see, because I've seen, you know, I've been in whiskey stores and even auctions where you get like estate sales and stuff that they've got like that old bottle of Bell's or J&B that's, you know, sitting there and you're like, well, I don't want to buy that. They're actually good.
You do.
You know, so don't necessarily turn your nose up at it. It's not what it is today. So keep that in mind.
Well, talking about going to auctions and estate sales and stuff, and it makes me think about dusty hunting. And you actually, you
Oh,
killed a
yeah.
dusty here. Look at what this guy shot off the shelf, man.
I was driving through Illinois,
Crazy.
through a small town, and there was a big banner outside this liquor store that said, "Been open 80 years, 80 years in business." And I said, "We're gonna pull the car over. You can go do something. I'm gonna be across the street for just a moment." And so I roll in, and they're
2 hours
like,
later.
nah, it was like 20 minutes because I rolled in, and they're like, "Do you need help, sir?" And I said, "Not really. No, I'm good. Just want to take a quick peek, see what you got." But they were really, really cool people, and they had a very nice selection. A lot of stuff that I'd already tried. So, you know, I go into a lot of liquor stores and just look because you never know what you're going to find, right? So I'm looking around, and up on the top corner, like back in the back, there's this Bruichladdich. And I was like, hey, wait a minute.
I mean, that's like a steel can.
I've never seen this before. I don't know what this is. And it's like 5 shelves up. So I had to have them get a ladder to get it down. And I was like, you know, I just want to check this out, right? And so it is the Bruichladdich Lynx series. This is K Club Ireland 16th hole, 14-year-old Scotch. So limited edition. I'd never seen it before. I had no idea what it was, and I bought it immediately.
What was the price on it? I mean, it wasn't crazy.
No, it was. Let's call it reasonable.
Yeah.
But the bottom of the can is rusting. They don't make cans out of it. I mean,
It makes it
Right.
older, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's that.
Do we know what year that was bottled?
I bet somebody in the chat might have.
I saw it at auction. So this was a series in like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
There was like 8 or 9 bottles in the series.
It's crazy.
But I mean, I just thought it was, first of all, it's cool because the whole series is different holes at famous golf courses. And I don't know who the artist was that did it, but it was somebody that was actually decent. And I saw several of the other holes online, and they were all really cool. So I mean, that's down in my stash, and
I'm going to open it later.
Yeah,
exactly what it looks like when I
get
played
you another
that.
one.
Let me know.
There's
Come
no
on.
ball in the green. It's in the water. You can't see it.
I'll go down to the store. and
Did you
pick
play
one up.
that?
So anyway, I mean, you know what? This store had a really nice selection, but I didn't see anything right off the bat that I thought was unique or interesting that I wanted to pick up. And then I just happened
You
upon this.
have to keep searching.
So
Isn't that fun?
take a second and look around. I mean, and this was priced at what it was probably priced at when it originally came out. I mean, they weren't price gouging. They weren't trying to rip me off, you know, and so I was like, yeah, I'll take that.
Whiskey Throttle and Whiskey Throttle said, "What links is it? I have several of them. This is the K Club Ireland, the 16th hole at the K Club, 14-year-old. So
it's cool. I haven't opened it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I thought the can was cool, and I thought that it was just unique because it's a one-off, right?
sure, it's decent.
Limited
Whiskey.
edition, but it's fun when you find a limited edition bottling just sitting on a shelf somewhere. You know, it's not every day that you do it. So anyway, it's fun.
What's Techie?
Is Drew texting
Drew's
you?
giving us, the people in front are louder than us in back, so he's changing direction. So,
We got you,
all
Drew.
right, so Drew, let us know if that's any
Why don't you
different.
log in and fix that?
Aren't you on vacation?
No, he's actually online. He's commenting. So,
I know, but
Nice.
he's on vacation. You know who's not going to be online next week? This guy.
Oh,
You're on last week, though.
You're going to be
Okay, man.
You're going to be out of the international waters. Kind of
So
thing.
I gotta find something here to pour. What's
Well, are we going to talk about the lowlands?
we can.
Let's hit the lowlands.
You guys want to start that? Or
Yeah.
do we have a?
We have
is
several
the Doc
other-
coming by tonight?
Yeah, he is, but I don't know if we want to bring him up first.
We'll
or if
bring
you
him
wanna-
up after.
Yeah, well, that's part of it.
After-
near
after?
the end. Near the end.
I like tonight because we have several other Scotch people here that have a good amount of knowledge. So this
Yeah,
is a
you're
fun
good.
discussion.
Can
about the
help
lowlands.
us carry the conversation through the lowlands.
What do you know about? the
You know,
lowlands?
honestly, that is the region I know the least about.
Well,
I
let's,
did-
Well, that's because there's only like 3 distilleries.
Right,
there.
yeah.
So,
let's
No.
back it up and start. So we've already talked about 2 other regions. So our whole 5-6 week conversation debating, right? The SWA says there's 5
We might as
regions,
well
but
kill this one.
everybody,
Might as well.
has added the islands in there. We're talking about the different regions and if it matters anymore. Does a specific region mean anything to you when you see a Scotch that comes from there? So we talked about the Highlands, we talked about Campbelltown, and this week it's Lowlands. So what do we know about Lowlands, guys? There's a little bit of information we can deduce from the Lowlands about our Highlands conversation. If you guys remember the line, the dividing line, the geographic line is really easy to see. It comes down, it's literally at the base of the mountains. That's an easy line to draw from the Grampian Mountains. But the line that was drawn back in 1784 had to do with taxation. But since then, if you go to, I found the exact definition of the line. I thought I would find it on the SWA site, and I couldn't find it there. But I found it on another website, and it's very, very specific. I mean, it's almost, it follows roads and stuff. But if you're gonna think about where the line goes, it's really safe to say that it basically starts from the bay just northwest of Glasgow and goes straight across to the Firth Tay. If you do that, you've pretty much it comes all the way up to here. You've pretty much got the line. So it's really close for a couple of our distilleries, right? So
Yeah, there's a couple that like Glengoyne is a highland
Highland.
because the water source is in the highlands.
right, but
But it's
Auchentoshan,
mature in the lowlands.
Right.
Literally across the street
Right.
is their warehouses. Yeah.
Auchentoshan, Lowlands, Deanston, Highlands, right? So it does get, it's pretty close when it comes to a couple of them,
Yeah.
but it's actually argued. I don't even know the exact number of distilleries in the Lowlands right now.
There's not very many. There's about to be a couple more. They're firing back up.
Yeah, so-
Rosebank will be coming back.
Maybe.
And I can tell you, Tom R was having some of his Rosebank earlier. He was gracious enough to share a sample of that with me. I didn't share it with anybody else. I don't even know if I told him I had it, to be honest with you. But it was excellent. I find that the Lowlands, every distillery is a little bit more distinct. I don't know that they have a particular style.
So there's the active distilleries.
Rosebank to
There's
me
12.
was very, it was almost Highlandish. It had a lot more, it was lighter with a little
13.
more floral character to it. Whereas I'm drinking Eden Mill right now. And this one
raisins.
has like super dried fruits,
Yeah.
but the nose is a little different. It's got like a, I don't know how to describe. There's like a peanut brittle smell, but then there's something else going
It
on, like
smells like
prunes
some-
or something.
Alcohol soaked
It's-
prune.
it's-
That's what it is.
It's
Prunes.
really bizarre.
Yeah.
So I mean, those two are nothing like each other. And then you get into Auchentoshan, and we were
Well,
talking
so-
about that one, and that's a very different whiskey as well.
Triple distilled.
triple distilled.
Yeah.
That historically, Lowlands were triple distilled.
Or more.
And they were predominantly grain, which they kind of are now. So
So-
there's still a lot, but the grain distilleries are producing massive amounts of distillate. I mean, I can't pronounce it.
That one distiller.
Elizabeth. I mean, they produce like something over 12 million liters. It's just crazy. They're cranking out grain whiskey like you wouldn't believe.
So that's where
man.
the Lowlands really got their kind of their main push is they produce millions of liters of grain whiskey for blends. And that's kind of what the Lowlands are best known for. If you get a single malt from there, it's going to typically be triple distill, or that's kind of a lighter whiskey.
right.
It doesn't typically have the full body that they are, because they're generally the stills in the Lowland, and it's a huge generality. They're the coffee stills, and they're these column stills. And if we had Dr. Scotch around, he could describe that.
We're going to see Dr. Scott.
Big column stills. I mean, they're
Big.
really.
I mean, when you're talking millions of liters of alcohol per year, not liquid, but just that's the 100 proof or 200 proof alcohol. It's a lot of whiskey.
So there's actually some famous ones that are gone. When we're talking about, what's active, what's in development. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 10 different distilleries that are in development currently now. There's 13 that are active, but closed or demolished. Little Mill.
Yeah.
Inverleven, which I've seen, SMWS has some of those come out every now and again.
Yep.
St. Magdalene, Lochran. So there's a couple of famous ones that are gone. I thought Ladyburn, no? Wasn't Ladyburn? I thought so. But anyway, there are some famous ones that have been demolished. I mean, Rosebank was shut down, but now it's in development. They're bringing it back. So will it be?
There's several of those sorts that they're bringing back, and that's good. That one I'm excited about. I think a little more than like Port Ellen. And don't get me wrong, I love Port Ellen, but they took the stills out of Port Ellen. Like that distillery was literally gone.
Right.
So they're building a new distillery on the Port Ellen site and naming it Port Ellen. Right. It's no matter how much
sort of
research they get, no matter what they're doing, it's going to be a little different, right?
Yeah.
Rosebank still had the stills in place, if I'm remembering that correctly. So I think that it was just mothballed. It wasn't actually. I bet Tom can probably
say someone in the chat will know.
Right.
So that one is more along the lines of we can fire this back up, we can put these processes back in place, and you'll essentially get the same whiskey. The stills are still there. Everything's still operational, per se.
So we have 2 Lowland whiskeys present right now in the bar, right? We're not drinking one of them because it's the Akentashi. None of us really care.
Triple wood. It's a Akentashi triple wood.
Yeah, that's
But
really good.
you are drinking a 3-year-old.
Yeah, I was just talking to Sean about 3 years old.
So Scotch Malt Whiskey Society bottled this before Eden Mill put out any of their own bottlings.
Right.
So this is the minimum age to be a Scotch. Scotch Malt Whiskey Society bought a cask, one of the first casks off the still, and once it hit 3 years, boom, they bottled it. And that's what we're talking about. It's raisins and prunes and the sweetness.
Super flavorful.
There's some savory in there too.
It's great.
Like I get a slight savory.
Really?
Yeah.
See, all
I get all that
I'm getting
sweet.
is raisins.
Like I almost felt like cheese for a second.
Cheese
On the palate, right?
So I think
Cheddar or Havarti or
I think that honestly, the Lowlands probably has the biggest diversity. Like it's the one region that I'm kind of like, it's kind of all over the board, right? But I think it's because they focus on grain for so long.
yes.
That I mean, they're doing single malts, but they're all kind of doing their own thing. Nobody really cared about it because they just left all that to the side.
They just crank the volume.
So I think that's kind of why. I mean, they really are a little bit all over the board. I don't know that I could say that has a style to it.
And it's also, if you back up, to the mid 1700s, maybe even a little bit before then, the difference of the geography. And so the highlands and the lowlands, it's not just the difference of mountains and flat, agricultural land. The people are completely different. The lowland people looked at the highland people like they were these crazy savages that went around in tartans and they were really into their family, and the highland people just like, hey, let's go down there and beat those people up and take their shit. I mean, and that's what they do, right?
Proven history by Mark.
Right. So there's a major difference in culture. But if you think about why the lowlands make a bunch of grain whiskey, it's because there's farmland all around. They're growing all these different grains. They have them readily available, so it makes sense.
Whereas the Highland people didn't have quite as much, but they were going to turn it into whiskey anyway.
Right, exactly. And they say that if you really look at where the grains could be grown, the barley could be grown in the Highlands, that's usually where stills popped up.
Well, fair enough. I mean, if you don't want to transport that stuff. I mean, even in the United States, that's why you get distilleries where you get distilleries, because they were the abundance of grain. It's easier to transport a bottle of whiskey than it is, 10 bushels of grain.
Right.
Yeah. So they're turning into whiskey to transport it to other places because they can get money for it. So I don't blame them for that. But I think that the lowlands, ironically, I mean, they would have had the easiest ability to move around. to share ideas, to have more of a cohesive region. Really, I mean, you're not getting around the Highlands.
Well, no,
all
yeah,
that
so
easy.
the lowlands.
And it's a lot larger
between Glasgow and Edinburgh. I mean,
Much
this is industry. This is the
it's
belt of
industrial
Scotland.
region,
It's the industrial belt of Scotland. So
So that's why I think that it's more the focus on the grain whiskeys. I don't think it necessarily took anything away from, like, this is a great single malt Scotch. I'm
Yes,
really
it is.
enjoying it.
Yep.
But I think that it led to a little more, I don't know, disassociation amongst single malt.
I'll be the
Scotch
first
in
to
that
admit
region.
that in the 40 years we've been doing this, we really have not dove into grain Scotch, right?
Nope.
Well, I mean, but there are some good ones out
Oh, yeah.
there. I mean, and it's something that I want to get into, and I just need to do it, But you can really get some great deals on grain Scotch.
You can get some impressive age statements.
I mean,
in
35,
grain whiskeys,
40-year-old
too,
grain
for the money.
whiskeys, and you're like, really?
Absolutely.
It's a steal.
Yeah.
Here's my $10.
It takes about that long to get them good, though. Is my view. I mean, I don't.
The problem I have with the grain whiskeys is they're extremely light and delicate. So
That's
if you
why
get
they're used
an
for
old,
blends.
like a 40-year-old grain whiskey, it's going to not be what you think it's going to be.
Yeah, and
right? If you're not used to grain whiskey.
They're going to put it in a tired cask because it'll extract every bit of energy out of that cask. So if you put a grain whiskey in a new oak barrel, it'll be destroyed in 3 years. I mean, it'll be
But that's
over oaked in 3 years.
Why it's used as a foundation for blends, though, because it's not going to overpower the flavor profile that you're trying to get out of
Correct.
that blend, right? Of the single malts that you're putting into it.
So I think that it's an interesting. I think there's some definitely distilleries that are worth checking out in the lowlands. There's some that I haven't had. There's some that are really hard to get if you can get anything from them.
True.
If you're looking at the names on the map, you're like, I don't even know what that is, right?
Some are still available.
But
Some of the
but
ones
there's some that
gone.
like Glenkinchie. We haven't had one, and I'd like to
I've
try
had
that.
it from Kinchy.
So
Bladnock.
yeah,
Really
Bladnock
good.
is what I
Bladnock
want
is
to
good.
Telex company acquired some Bladnock a while back, and it was
Is Telex
fantastic.
on there? Telex, how come I don't have Bladnock?
So I
Don't
think
breathe
it's,
these what you're drinking, Mark.
I think it's a fun
Sure,
region,
I
but
spy.
it's hard to get around it.
It's
How
good,
about that?
Greg.
The Glenallachie, right?
Yes. It's the Glenalky.
What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
So why don't I, since we're wrapping up on the lowlands,
You're gonna go get Dr. Scotch?
Yeah, why don't I
20
go
years old.
talk to Dr. Scotch and see if he's got some information.
Excellent.
All
Excellent.
right, let me go downstairs.
All right.
I love the nose on it.
Wow. That goes down pretty far.
It
Right?
does go down
Yeah.
far.
You gotta keep Molly out of there.
One of
That's
these
where we
days
keep
he's
the
gonna
pretzels.
Yeah.
Got some bomb sauces down there too.
This is on my short list. Not to oversell it, but my favorite was.
So I've never had anything from Five Lines before.
Same here. I got that at Vine and Table. And Dennis was like, nobody buys it because it's a top shelf whiskey in kind of terrible packaging.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, Five Lines, but
I had something from
Hey, what's up, guys?
Dr.
What's going on? How you
Scotch.
doing?
Nice to meet you.
Hey, we got lots of people here today. That's weird.
Hey,
Hey,
that's
buddy.
guys.
Yeah,
I'm
where
gonna
you
get
been?
out of your way and let you do your thing.
All right.
Yep.
So I hear you talking about lowlands today.
Yeah.
All the way down there.
You know, the interesting thing about lowlands is they do
They're low.
They are, but they also do a lot of high volume distilling. And you can't do that in a pot still.
Talk to us about column stills.
So
Dun, dun, dun.
column stills are a unique process. This is a diagram of a coffee still. So we're gonna have to move some bottles because this is a science experiment, guys.
I
Come
want
on.
to turn the right side up too.
Do you
Oh,
make
yeah.
coffee?
Dr. Scotch,
Coffee in a
aka
coffee
Ross
still?
Perot.
So yeah, so maybe I don't know if you can see this on the screen. I don't
You want me
know
to
which
hold
is
it?
better.
I could be like Vanna White.
Let's see what it
Probably
looks
kinda
like on
small,
screen.
yeah,
Yeah,
probably
it's kinda
not.
like culture
They're
screen.
small.
So this is a coffee still, and it's probably going to mess up the audio, but we'll talk through this. So this thing is all about efficiency. What's going on?
I'm trying to see it.
Do we need to hold it? No, I think we need a little. Let me see if I can put it like
Put it in
that.
front of the
Put
microphone.
it in
All
front of the microphone.
Well, but then okay. We'll see what that.
Look at that.
All right.
Talk around it.
So the beauty of a coffee still is that it's all about efficiency. You start over here with your beer. With a pot still, you got to put the beer in, then you got to distill it, then you got to dump the waste, you got to put more beer in, and you got to heat it up, then you got to dump all the hot liquid and all that kind of stuff. You put cold beer in over here, you put steam in over here, and that's all you need to do because the cold beer comes in. So the key principle of a still like this is you have multiple plates that will go through and it will essentially extract. It's like having dozens of different pot stills all in one unit. And so it's really efficient. And so you can run through a high volume liquid. You bring your cold beer in here. You actually use it to cool down some of the distillate that's coming out of the second column. And then as that hot beer then gets dumped into the second column, then you start extracting the alcohol. And so really it's all about this cross flow of steam coming up and then cold liquid coming down. Eventually you get whiskey out over here. So this is where you have your really high boilers that you don't want. And then right here, somewhere in this column, you'll cut your actual whiskey coming out the column. But the beauty of this, it's continuous flow. So you continually add beer, you continually add steam, and you continually get whiskey out. Just runs all day.
So your cuts are actually made by where the alcohol is evaporating in the column still.
That's correct. If you want a high proof, low flavor whiskey, you cut right at the top. If you want a lower proof with more flavor, you cut lower in the still. And you can do all sorts of condensations and recycles and all those kinds of things in these stills to make it really efficient. But this is the kind of still that all of your grain whiskey producers use, because you can create literally millions of liters of whiskey a year. These are the same kind of stills that they use in Kentucky for Wild Turkey and for some of these and MGP, all these huge volume distillers. Because the beauty of this is you can cut anywhere you want. Do you want more flavor? You cut a little bit lower. Do you want a high proof? Do you want Everclear? You cut all the way up here at the very top of the whiskey, and there's no flavor to it. So it's a really efficient way of making whiskey.
Interesting.
But it's really
continuous flow.
Continuous, baby. These can run 24/7.
That's me when I drink beer.
Continuous flow. So that's a little bit of science associated with the Lowland. This kind of Mr. Coffee was the one that really kind of commercialized this design, and there's lots of other refinements to it with bubble caps and all these kinds of things. But essentially, you've got steam running up here, coming across over here, and then up through here. You have liquid flowing down through here, and then when you have this cold liquid coming in here, you're starting to condense some of that whiskey or some of the liquid as well. So this is predominantly liquid flow. This is predominantly gas flow, and with steam flow, vapor. And so with these two stills together, you can make whiskey like anybody's business.
So Coffee was like, you know what? If one still is good, you know what we should do? We should make it a lot more.
Two stills.
Dial it up to 11. Right?
Dial it up to 11.
Yeah.
Yes, and he even designed it like that, so it looks like an 11. Literally, they're
That's
just
one
scratch
more.
that. Or maybe
I mean,
one more.
It's an ingenious, like, it would have taken somebody, like, when did he come up with this? It was like in
Let me see this.
I don't remember the
the
exact year.
1800s,
Well,
right?
and it wasn't the idea of a plate still like that isn't his original design, but he kind of perfected
Figured
the
it out.
design. I mean, you can do kind of multiple plates, but the way he's got all these porous plates that the steam kind of bubbles up through the liquid. There's a liquid layer on each of these plates, and the steam bubbles up through it, and so it's doing its extraction in the plate, and then it carries through. It's really an amazing design. It's all copper, so you're getting all the copper you want out of it. Now, the key thing with this is copper isn't as critical because it's running 24/7. You don't ever get a chance to refresh the copper to remove those sulfurs. But again, those sulfur compounds distill at a different plate, and so you can cut them out if you want. So
Crazy.
that's the beauty of high volume distilling.
All right.
You can't make a bottle look like that though, like Old Pulteney does.
No, not nearly as impressive.
Yeah.
Cut the goose.
But if you go on the Bourbon Trail, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see these at Maker's Mark. You're going to see these at Wild Turkey. You're going to see these at all the major distillers.
So they can crank.
Because they can crank. Because I mean, ultimately, the whiskey flavor, and you can cut to keep the corn in there, but it's the barrel the new oak barrel is what's giving you tons of flavor, and so that's what they want to keep.
So basically, instead of walking in at like McAllen where they've got all the cool pot stills, you're walking in and you're like, oh yeah, our still's the round thing in the corner.
Well, so at Maker's Mark and where else did we go? Wild Turkey. They're on display.
Yeah.
And they actually, when we went to Maker's Mark, we went on a tour where we actually tasted some of the distillate off the still.
Yeah.
And it's weedy and it's really it's tasty. Wherever they cut it, it tastes good. So
Huh. All right.
yeah, but they have volume. You can crank the volume.
See?
Yeah, Old Forester I know has both pot still and
Francis,
column
you guys
still.
saw Bubba.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
So
Brady.
so that's part of it as well. Yeah. So
Yeah, Bubba was very cool.
I will leave you guys to your show. What time is it? Oh, we got lots of time left.
We got lots of time. We got like
Almost 25 minutes.
Oh yeah, and we got a lot to get into. So
Let's
All right.
do this.
Well,
let's
Shot of
stay on a
Scotch.
drink, Doc.
No, I'll take off.
I'll tell you what,
I got
Ambrose.
I've
take
got
a bottle with you.
I've got
You won't
science to do, so I'll
Hey, take
sit
a
back.
bottle of that Akatosh with you.
I'm gonna do that. That's the Lowland too, isn't it?
I wouldn't drink it, but you can disinfect some stuff.
It's not that great. I do need to sanitize some flasks, so I'll need to take that Akatosh and
Fair
whatever.
All right, I'll
See
get
you
out
guys.
of your way.
See you guys.
Thanks, Dr.
Sit down.
Scotch.
Take it easy, buddy.
I don't know you guys, but good to see you guys here.
Hey, thank you, Dr.
Nice to
Scotch.
meet you.
That's the Doc. So, all right. Do I need to do this? Do I need to? Do I
Yeah,
need
let's
to
just take a
stab and go into the?
We're trying to get Mark into bourbon. Here, try the turkey.
I feel like this should
Whatever-
be.
whatever you want to try.
Hang on, wait. What's the ABV on this? What's the ABV on that turkey?
That turkey revival is 101 proof, so 50.5.
Yeah, so I'll start with the 43.
I feel like we should make this democratic and let people vote.
Oh, well, I don't have graphics to put up.
Dun dun dun.
You need to drink.
Hey,
What
but
do you want to
What's
try?
what's going on?
You want to try the Wiggly Bridge?
I'm trying to get Mark
This-
into
this
bourbon.
Eden Mill is fantastic. That
It's
nose on
Wiggly
that
Bridge.
is so sweet.
Yeah, Greg brought this. This is good. I had this a couple weeks ago when Greg came over. We hung out for a while.
it's from
Maine?
York,
Not at
Maine,
all
so it's only available
what
in
you thought
New
it would
Hampshire. I mean, New England at the moment.
Okay,
It's the Eden Mill.
so it's a small distillery. They're
Yeah,
not
it's
cranking
about
much out.
5 years old, I think.
Molly can't.
Oh, I remember
So
you talking
sweet.
about that.
No Molly Cam tonight because we don't have our technician Drew.
Man, she
here.
looks sad.
Well, we don't have the
Your
Molly.
tail's wagging. She's playing you.
Get that other person.
Are you bringing the
I'm
Glenallachie?
kidding.
Okay.
She'll be over here in a heartbeat.
So
All right.
anyway, Lowlands. I think we're gonna crack.
Yep.
You know, we're gonna wrap up Lowlands. So that begs the question: we still have Speyside and Isla and Islands. Now, I don't know if that's an argument conversation or not because the SWA only recognizes 5 regions, but we're going to break out islands because for all intents and purposes, they're already given. that
Honestly,
away.
I think that the islands have more in common than all the lowland distilleries have in common with
So,
each other.
You guys put up
Or at least as much.
put what we're talking about
Yeah.
next. Islands, Speyside,
It's a big
or
range.
Isla.
Right.
So,
I think I know what Bud would go for.
all right, yeah, bud. You know what?
Lagavulin is not a
did we get
region.
Scotch in? Did we talk Scotch in
We did
Indonesia? So we need to cover that.
Did you guys
So,
hear about those tariffs?
ah,
Anybody heard about that? No.
something. You know what I did hear?
I
I
talked about
heard
that last week too.
there was well now they're in
All
effect
right.
though.
Yeah, so if we're going to do Scotch in the news first, we got a couple things. One thing I want to hit first before we get into too much real
Okay.
Scotch. So we are an advocate and we are a follower of ScotchWhiskey.com, which announced this week that they are closing their doors for good. All their content is going to be hopefully archived, but that is a sad day for us because that was a great source of information about
Right.
Yeah.
whiskey
All kinds of
as
stuff.
well. But so they are unable to keep their profit margin or whatever it is to keep the site up. So they're closing, which is sad. I know Whiskey Cast did he had a thing on his Facebook, commenting on, unfortunately, they're a primary source of information for lots of whiskey people. So that makes me sad, but we'll have
We
to move
bought
on.
the domain, so if you click on it tomorrow, you will be taking the Scotch for Dummies.
Just take it over. Yeah. You know how it goes.
I mean, do it later.
So let's get into real Scotch. So what do you want to hit first?
Well, let's start with the tariff conversation. Obviously, they went into effect. Now, what does that mean? It's not like the price of your bottle when the liquor store went up 25%.
Unless you have a shady liquor
No, there
store.
were reports of people seeing some in your Discord. Someone was saying
Yes.
they've already
Yeah.
seen some prices.
On the
drop.
East,
That's-
on the
Yeah.
East, on the
It
East
is
Coast.
BS.
Yeah,
It's
I wouldn't
complete
buy
BS.
from those people.
Quick, go mark up everything on the shelf.
You know, the only legitimate argument I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, people are saying that they need to raise them now so that they can have the money for the next order, which sounds a little.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, will it drop it then as soon as it goes down?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the day it goes down, you can
They'll
guarantee
drop their
that.
prices 25%.
No.
There was one article I read where, wow, that's surprisingly light. There was one article where a guy,
Molly.
I don't know if he was a distiller manager, somebody who makes the decision on how their whiskey is going to be imported into the United States, and normally they would ship it, via boat. He's like, he shipped out 3,000 bottles
By
by
plane.
plane just to get one more shipment. He's like, it cost me 10% more to send it to the States via plane. That's still 15% lower than the tax.
Well, I saw there was a single malt producer in England or Wales. They were interviewing on. Where did I hear that?
Some podcast.
Yeah, probably it was one of the podcasts. But they were like, is it going to affect you? Because it specifically said Irish and Scottish single malt, and they're like, we don't know, but it's on a boat headed for the States, so we're going to find out when it gets there what happens. Because they were like, we don't know if the bureaucrats that wrote the tariff knew that
the difference.
Knew that there was other single malt. Like, were you specifically targeting Scotland and Ireland, or were you trying to get all single malts? Like, is it UK that you're targeting? So they didn't know. So I guess they'll find out when they roll it in. But
it's just Scotland. It's just Scottish, and so things like Dewar's and J&B and all those blends, not
Box,
not
White Walker.
Well,
White Walker is safe.
A lot of the Compass Box are single malts. Some of them are single malts.
Some of the newer ones,
but generally those blends are not.
Typically, they're blended.
Blended Irish are not. UK whiskeys, other English whiskeys not included. Single malt UK whiskeys not included. It's very specific.
Once Brexit happens in another week or two, then they'll take that away and we'll be back to normal.
We'll see.
We will see.
I don't know.
Everything's a hot mess.
It is a hot mess, and there's nothing we can do about it but suffer.
Right? Drink whiskey.
So we know that there was.
Drink what you have.
I know there was another independent bottler that they actually pre-bought a bunch of stock to get them through Christmas before they would actually have to bring material in that would be under the tariff. So most distributors realized what was going to happen. They did stock up. There may be a few liquor stores that are gouging you right now, but in reality, number one, it's only single malts. Number two, all the inventory currently in the States is not part of that.
It's already been taxed.
So it's going to be a while until most of that gets through the supply chain. Will it get through? Will you? If you're buying whiskey in late December for Christmas, maybe it's going to be a problem. So go Christmas shopping early is what I recommend.
Well, I got a couple other articles that are a little bit lighthearted, not quite so doom and gloom with the taxation thing. The first one was interesting, and I read it just because I was like, okay, it's not like I'm a big Man United fan here, but Chivas Regal has teamed up with Top Flight Soccer Team for a new Scotch. So they've teamed up with Man United, and they're bottling a 13-year-old Chivas blended that's going to be finished in a rye casks.
Ex-American rye casks.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I found it interesting.
Well, it's
Sounds
selectively finished in.
What'd you say?
It's selectively finished in ex-American rye casks.
Yeah,
so, in other words, portions of that.
It's gonna hit the U.S. It's for the U.S. Market, and it's gonna hit the U.S. for $35 a bottle.
So is that somebody take this one bottle, swirl it around that rye cask, and bring it back to me?
Exactly.
Maybe that they don't ever say.
All right.
But it said something in the article. It mentioned so Man United has over 8 million fans in the U.S. market.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many people are in the UK?
I believe it.
I don't know.
I mean, there's more than 8 million, but definitely not.
Sad, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that. The other article that I want to talk about, which Bud will be excited about, is guess what is hitting the shelves this month?
Love it.
That's right.
Nick Offerman.
The Nick Offerman bottle of Lagavulin. So this is a special bottling. If you read the article, Nick has been working with Lagavulin for 5 years on this project. It's an 11-year-old Lagavulin, and supposedly it's going to be a bit spicier than regular 16. So he was very intimately involved in selecting the casks for this, and so it's a limited run. Supposedly Lagavulin's going to put a lot more marketing coming out in the next month. You're going to see some of those crazy Nick Offerman type commercials that they had in the past and stuff. The bottle label actually has
his face on
his
bust,
hilarious, this big bushy beard, and he's it just
that's awesome.
It's in a wooden box. It's I can't believe it. What's the price on? Oh,
$75.
So that's really not bad.
So
Internet Wines has it in stock right now.
When Scotch for Dummies,
Internet Wines.
When we do our bottle, it's going to look like that. We're going to have our
the Mount Rushmore of the dummies.
It'll be
that's a great idea.
It'll be the drawing that my daughter did.
Just buy a mountain and
So
I've seen
The Mount Rushmore of four dummies.
it's supposed to. It's an 11-year-old
That's
at
nice.
46% ABV, pronounced fresh berry character combined with spiciness. Elevated
Beautiful.
top notes provide a more direct flavor journey than other Lagavulin expressions. A
Mm.
more direct flavor
More
journey.
direct flavor journey.
All right.
Okay.
What did the five fingers
So-
say to the face?
So that tells me it's not as refined, a little more potent, a little bit younger. Well, obviously it's 11.
You're gonna get sucker punched by that bottle.
Whoosh, yeah.
I can't wait to get sucker punched by that bottle, and I'm sure Bud's already salivating on it now.
Yeah, I'll need to get off the
But
shelf.
he literally said earlier that he's a deacon in the Church of Nick Offerman. So-
And Bud did have to take
Cheers,
out a little bit. So.
right.
I don't even know where that means,
I know.
actually, but
I'm surprised he hasn't driven to Oregon yet to pick one up.
Exactly. So that's kind of fun. I'm excited about that. I knew about that a while ago when they applied for the label,
The TGB.
the TGB label. So I've been looking forward to it. Can't wait to get my hands on a bottle.
absolutely.
$75. I'm sure I'll have at least one.
That's lighthearted Scotch in the news.
That's good, yeah.
That it beats the taxation stuff. So that was Scotch in the news. We've got Dr. Scotch has already been here. We've covered our lowlands. Is there anything else in Scotch in the news, Andrew? Did you find anything else that you wanted to talk about? Scotch in the news. Drew is not here.
No, that was it. That was it.
He's here. He keeps.
Oh, we had this. Man, we don't know.
He's here in spirit.
So there's some discussion about UK and Scotland and working through all that, but I don't have enough detail on it, so we're not going to get into that.
They're trying to do something.
They're trying to do something.
How about that?
Whatever.
There you go. Stay
All right.
tuned for more.
I gotta try the turkey one that you want me to try with
It is
Andrew's
good.
wife because she's a big turkey fan.
Cheers.
And I
love
wanna
wild
see if
turkey.
She gets
Wild
a
turkey
wee
is-
bit of this.
It has a reputation for being lowbrow or whatever, but it's
Right.
well-made, really good bourbon. I love it. I can't say enough good things about
Where's
Wild.
that OP? This is it right here.
The
It's
beauty
nice.
of wild turkey is that it really makes a
Getting John
fairly
with that
strong
bottle.
blender Scotch because it has a lot of rye content.
Oh, yeah.
So it has enough flavor to
Good in
handle
a cocktail for
anything
sure.
else. So I'm drinking this Wiggly Bridge Distillery small barrel bourbon whiskey.
What do you think about it?
It's definitely bourbony. And that's the thing. I don't. Again, that's the problem. Bourbons to me taste like bourbon. You get so much wood, you get so much corn, but
That is so
You know,
in depth.
it is. Well, that's all I get at it. Unfortunately, my
And I'll
palate is
drink to
not
that.
tuned.
I am completely in agreement with you.
I was there once too. But now I'm a full-blown bourbon fan.
So talk to me. What do you get about? How do you nuance bourbon?
I kind of think of it as just like a category, right? Like sherry bombs or, a certain niche of whiskey. Bourbon is narrower in range than Scotch. The Scotch world is huge. But within what they do, there's a lot of variation.
So how do they vary?
I mean, there's wheaters. There are some that put in wheat instead of
sure.
rye. You can mix up the mash bill. Lower corn, lower rye, more or less malt. I'm not a bourbon expert by any means, but I know a lot more about Scotch.
So that's what I need to understand about this because you can tell there's a different grain. This isn't as corny as
It is not as corny.
It's not a dad joke?
I'm not crazy about the finish on it.
Exactly.
That was a dad joke for him.
It's
I
got
know we're on the wrong shirt.
Yeah.
I like the nose. I like the palate. I wasn't crazy about the finish. There's something a little bit, and I think it's the you said bourbony. You know what I mean? But it's not as corny. I agree with you on
There's
that.
got to be rye in that.
Yeah,
Fair large
That's-
amount of rye.
that's what I'm tasting.
Yeah.
But I might get the other thing about
So-
with wheat, you get a better mouthfeel out of wheat than I typically get with.
I'll have to bring over a range of bourbons for you sometime.
Yeah.
Do we
Like
know
different
how old
mash
this
bills,
is?
different strengths.
Do you
Because
know how
you'll
old
see
this
it then. Yeah.
No, I know it's only. They've only been around for about 5 years. So.
Okay.
Under 4 years in new small American oak barrels. So
And it's only in the New England market.
I'll take that.
That's good.
that's
I
interesting
had
to
some.
try that.
I got that from George too. Yeah. That's very good.
So that's
Awesome.
Wiggly
Have your
Bridge
dinner.
Distillery small barrel bourbon.
And what's that go for a bottle?
I think I bought it for about 60.
Oh, really?
Well, it's small barrels, so it's gonna.
And it's a smaller distillery, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, I
it's
mean,
more of
they're-
a
yeah,
You gotta keep
artisan.
the lights on.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, they're that's how you do it.
I will say I like that. There's a lot of distilleries opening up around America,
Right.
and they're
Oh, yeah.
they're swinging for the fences.
I was
Um,
surprised to see one in Maine. It's just going there often, but
Here's one that's
You wouldn't expect to
non-Scotch
see-
in the
right.
news related, but it's whiskey in the news related. Why does every 80s and 90s band think that they need a whiskey now?
Oh yeah, Alice in Chains has that new whiskey. Yeah,
What?
Alice in Chains has
there's an
a,
Alice in Chains whiskey. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's from Few Distillery. Someone in the chat will correct, but I think it's
Yeah.
from Few. But
It's
yeah,
from Glyph.
Maybe
No.
it's because they don't
Glyph.
want to end up like some of the old 70s being broke from doing all the coke that they got to do these reunion tours and charge $275 a ticket. And they're like, let's do an investment.
let's just make a whiskey.
Let's make a whiskey.
Well, and you say you go to MGP to do your mash bill, you have nothing invested in it.
I'm
No,
pretty
you
sure
still-
Alice in Chains isn't out there rolling around barrels. So
They probably have enough experience drinking whiskey. Maybe they could pick a good one. Hey,
I'm not saying they
I
can't.
don't know.
How about
I
that?
didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what you were talking
It
about.
just came out. Yeah, I read it this week. Yeah,
All right.
Which, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have my own whiskey if I
I'd
did,
try it.
Right?
I tried that.
I'll try just about any
that
whiskey.
Metallica one at the Whiskey Fest, and they were bragging about that they matured the barrels with like Metallica music playing.
Yeah.
this
Loud.
right. This one had it was matured with Ride the Lightning, and this one was Master of Puppets, and I'm like, oh, let me try the
Sandman on
difference.
repeat.
Oh yeah, I can tell.
really pick up some Inner Sandman vibes on these. Yeah, no, that's earlier Metallica.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that's definitely young.
It's pre-black. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Pre-black.
So Tom R said that Few did a Flaming Lips bottle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
They
I
did
forgot
Flaming
about that.
Lips.
Well, and there's Dylan, and there's
Mhm.
Bob Dylan's got those Heaven's Door bottles.
Yeah.
All
So,
right, hey,
Everybody's getting in on it.
So
We're
whiskey
trying to
boom.
get-
Brown
It's a
liquors
whiskey
are hot
boom.
right now.
The ones that didn't die young are getting in on
we're
it. How
trying to
about
get
that?
in on it. I'm not mad at them.
No, I was just gonna say we have a Scotch for Dummies distillery. That would.
There's no Hendrix bottle. How about that?
No, but if we could get a distillery, I'd quit my job. I'd roll barrels. I just don't think it's going to pay the mortgage.
Well, you live in the warehouse, right?
Yeah, move the family into.
Right.
I know you're used to getting paid, but
Depending on what time of year, babe, you have to kind of sleep in certain sections of the Dunnett house. It gets kind of cold over there.
it's cold on this side too, but it's not wet.
What do you guys hear about Jim Beam is opening up a house on their distillery?
Oh, through Airbnb.
Yeah. For
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That
I just heard
sounds
about
cool.
Yeah. So you can do that.
Yeah. Well,
that. Yeah,
might as well. You still want to stay?
SMWS has a room for let at the not for let to the public, but for members at least.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd like to try that. I mean, I'd stay there because I could really
Yeah.
pour some whiskey down
Well,
downstairs. I'm telling you,
yeah.
that whole room is filled with these green bottles, man. Just
Uh-huh.
like, I was like, that one, that one.
and they're all reasonably priced.
Yes, they really are.
Well, looks like I'm not doing anything tomorrow.
Or the day after.
Sometimes the kitchen
Right?
closed. Can I get some more of that haggis?
I need some of that grain to those oats to soak up this up.
Somewhere there's a picture of you eating the haggis.
Tried
I'll try it.
Yeah, why not?
We only had a trip to Scotland planned.
Yeah, you know what? What's going on with
What's
that?
going on with that?
I think we're gonna go.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I want to go so bad. It's not in the
Big
cards.
We just
Yeah,
got to
for this-
finalize the
this year.
pricing and we're good to go.
Yeah, and I think people are waiting for that.
You guys are gonna have
It'd
So
be
you're-
nice to
so
be
you're
able to
gonna
get that
come on,
to them before
trip
they spend all their
2.0,
money on
right?
So you said it's every year, right?
Yeah, that's what we're
Is it
talking
really?
about. Yeah,
But even if it's
yeah. No, we're
So
talking about like dueling tours the year after.
little deliverance in Scotland.
won't be the Isla year.
Maybe.
We'll have two tours like rotating around.
Your
that.
lineup this year though is incredible.
It's going to
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah,
It's going to be the
Yeah.
bomb.
So
I'm
the
super
plan is
excited.
to have that finalized with all paperwork done by the end of October. So we're coming right up on
Yeah.
that.
I'll be here before you know it.
I'm in.
Show up in Inverness,
Off we go.
get out, and away you go. You got lodging.
Bring
you
your
got-
own
you-
peanut butter pretzels.
Yeah,
For Molly.
You only some food. You got snack food, but most of the meals are covered as far. Well, we're still working through that, but
Yeah.
We could put a working vest on
Yeah,
that.
you probably at least one meal a day. That's good.
I'll bring her with us.
you only need one meal a day because you're drinking whiskey.
Fight
all
like
day,
I'm
right?
blind every now and again.
So we'll work it out. But
Yeah, so we're still working on it, but it's definitely shaping up, and it's going to happen. So we do have a short list of people that have already said put me on the list. So I haven't looked at that in a while. We haven't had any more requests to look at it for. So that's
So we've had some people request that the guests maybe try that El Dorado.
the guests try the El Dorado.
Yeah.
You know what? I do have another request that was sent to me before the show started.
It's rum.
It's a 21-year-old rum.
I have a
Right.
couple more samples that I brought from my house.
Do we need to
That
do
was
those
sent
first?
to me. No, they were sent to me by a particular subscriber,
This is
and he
good,
asked
right?
me
You're
if
not
I'd
white-
open
you're not
them.
white
and I
offering
haven't.
me
So
here?
he said
really good.
to share them, and so I went and grabbed those. So yeah, this is was given to us by Tom. Tom
It's on my
Mark.
glass.
This is a 21-year-old rum. I don't know if you're a rum fan,
It's
but
next
you got to
level.
try it. You really
This
need
is
to
next
try
level
it.
rum. This isn't your Bacardi white. It's
Is that a Captain Morgan?
No.
This is a Guyana. So this is from Guyana. So you're not going to get the,
Oh, wow.
the typical like Jamaican funk and some of those kind of things. So it's
Sour banana.
sour banana. No, it's really nice.
Ooh.
So I encourage everyone that's around to try this if you haven't. It's got a great.
Pass it back.
Yes. Oh, I see someone who. I think he would.
Unpaid intern.
I think that means he wants a glass.
The intern wants some.
That was me that hacked the
Do you need a rinse?
conversation.
Drew, my burnt
There you
toast
go.
coin.
Oh, you got the burnt toast coin.
We'll let that sit for a second.
It's really nice. I like it.
Yeah, I like rum.
Send a message.
If it's not every day you get a good sipping rum,
Yeah.
and that one definitely fits the bill.
Yeah, this one changed my mind about rum. I honestly, this is not anything that I expected at all. This caught me completely off
It's right
guard.
here, good smell.
Yeah, let me pour a little. There's a little splash. We can talk about
That
it.
is banana.
Yeah, I put it
You're
over
right.
there. Someone-
That's just like banana.
Molly.
There you go.
Man,
Made
that
a
smells
song
so
about it.
good.
The shit is bananas.
It's sugary.
Oh, you need tons of banana.
Well, that's like a little bit of like dark nuts in there though too, like almost like tobacco.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
like expired
Yeah.
bananas.
Yeah.
You know,
It's very ripe banana.
when the bananas turn dark, you know.
Well, I
the
believe banana
extra
bread.
sugar.
Some like just
Yeah.
some
So you get some spice in there.
baking spice.
I get that banana though.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not what you thought.
So, welcome to Scotch for Dummies, where we're tasting rum.
Wow.
That's really good. We've been doing
I'm
very
still
nice.
drinking scotch.
We've
Rum
been
for
doing-
dummies. That's
next level.
really that's a very nice rum.
Almost tastes like banana bread.
It's
It does.
but it's
got
not.
that.
It's not something
those
I can
breads.
have more than one dram.
No,
It's definitely a
But it's-
one
it's
finger
definitely
drink
good
that
for
I would
a
enjoy.
one.
Absolutely.
So let's for those online, we are on the podcast. We're drinking El Dorado Special Reserve 21-year-old rum, 40% ABV. We have the 750 ml bottle for that. Good
God,
product.
that's sugar.
Oh yeah, you
It's
can tell
super
it's
sweet.
yeah,
That's
loads of
sugar.
sugar. Yeah,
I mean,
but it's good. But you're right.
It's
It's,
nice.
it's a dessert. You know, it's something you have a dram of. And
it needs to come with a.
if I remember
sugar
right,
cane
it was something I would
toothpick.
have poured for ice cream and
Right.
This is
yeah.
fantastic.
Right?
It's really,
Pancakes?
really good.
yeah,
yeah,
pancakes. What do you think, Fred?
It's really good.
So the next question is, what gin do we have? But we're not doing gin today.
What gin do I have?
We're
I
just gonna
have
walk
gin.
through the spirits world.
My wife's got about
Gin
10
section's
different
down here.
types of
So
gin right now.
so Nocturnal is asking, why do
Do we have
people
botanist?
like gin? I happen to like Sapphire.
I love gin. Yeah.
I've never had it before.
Scottish gin.
Well, yeah, there's quite a few Scottish gins.
Yeah,
Hendrix is
Like the
Scotch.
botanist from
Yeah,
Bucati.
yeah.
yeah.
Do you drink
Hendrix
it?
is
I mean, you
Scotch.
can just knock it out so
That
fast.
was a very good
And,
one.
yeah,
If I do a
Ever?
martini, I do.
Here's
You like it?
So
It just got these.
oh, Castle and
It's
Key.
a burst of flavor. The thing about gin is
yeah,
it's essentially
yeah.
it's clear liquid with a bunch of aromatics. So
original.
it's like Scotch. You say I like
Yes,
Scotch.
Tom.
Well, if you like gin, what kind of
She
gin
hasn't
do you
made up her
like?
mind
'Cause
on
there's such a wide
tasting
range of
those
gin.
yet.
All the aromatics you can have, whether it be juniper or orange peel
Yeah.
or anise or whatever they put in there,
right.
it completely changes the flavor. Cucumber, whatever the Hendrix gin is, like cucumber on that.
Yeah,
to it.
here.
So
these were
it's
given
pretty
to me by Bob H. Sent them a couple weeks ago. We
Look
sent
at
some.
that packaging. That is nice.
Oh, yeah.
Bob,
Uh-huh.
well
Bob and
done.
KB do it right.
That's
He
fantastic.
sent some glasses, some cups that we're going to get engraved. But he sent these two, and they've been sitting downstairs since. And so he said, "Why aren't you going to open it with everybody else?" I said, "All right, I will. I just haven't opened them yet."
Yeah.
So they're both signatories. Deanston's, one is a Deanston 10 and the other is a Deanston 11. The Deanston 10 is at 67.6% and the 11 is at 64.7%.
Nice.
I don't know where you picked these up at, Bob. So if you know anything more about them,
Are those whiskey barrel?
they might be.
Yeah.
That sounds like
I
something.
saw
Whiskey
something
Barrel.
similar. I didn't buy it.
So
Look at the color difference.
yeah, look at the color difference. The 10 is a little bit darker,
It's
isn't
not
it?
as pronounced when you hold it up to the light.
But down here it looked like it. Like right
Yeah.
now, that one looks so much darker. But all right, let's do it.
Here, you know what I'm thinking?
What?
I'm looking at
Yeah,
that.
whiskey bill.
I'm looking at this one at 67.6%, and I want to tell it it's like both our bikes, right?
I'm on it.
You got knocked out. Almost 100.
You know I wouldn't trip.
Pop's tripping, man.
You
Yeah,
know I
that's
wouldn't
small
trip.
pour. Just take a taste.
That's when you almost need to have some,
All right, Bob.
some spit in your mouth because it's
Oh, yeah.
at 67% ABV.
Special guest Chewbacca.
Oh, you want?
That's,
That's 64.
That's up there with the highest I've had.
Yeah,
I've got
that's-
some,
130.
I have some Elijah Craig barrel proof that's up there.
That's what they wanted to bottle of that.
That's a punch in the face.
This guy right here is almost 140.
So we need to drink all this before Drew gets back because it's Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drew's going to be mad. Is Drew still online? No,
Nosing my
he
water.
logged off by now.
2006.
Drew, we're drinking this one for you, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
He's calling
Wanna try it?
Like almonds and stuff. It's like
That's going to be a big one.
Actually, for all you players at home, once the show ends tonight, we're all going to stumble down the street and go to Drew's house.
Sit in the hot tub.
Sit in the hot tub.
Drink all his whiskey.
Um,
There you go. Apparently, Mark has the code, and
we're good to go.
yeah.
It's all good. Drew, he'll know about it because his
We'll
house
get an
is
immediate
wired
text.
up like
yeah, he's
Fort
gonna
Knox.
watch us in the hot tub, but that's
But
all right.
whatever. I mean, he's going to watch me
I mean,
drink
it's
his
creepy,
scotch.
but whatever.
If we drink some of those Deanston 20, just replace
You
it
got
with
the
water.
combinations to the vault
Man,
down in the
I,
basement?
I immediately put water on this.
What? You did?
Yeah.
You didn't even try it?
You're not gonna be able to enjoy it at 67%.
No, this is a 60. I mean, close enough. It's not like they're that far. This is the 64.7. Here, that's
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Oh, that's nice.
Mr. Bowers.
It's got a nutty quality.
Mm.
Yeah, nutty for sure.
I'm
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not
Tongue
even
just
gonna
goes
start.
numb. Right? And I feel like I'm in a dentist. Yeah, right?
This is one I could just smell for an hour. Like, wow.
I do get some toast in there. Whether it be burnt, I don't think it's burnt, but I get Oloroso toast.
Marzipan.
Do you smell marzipan?
No, I don't
I
think-
don't really. But it is kind of nutty. I mean,
it's
dry
Jason,
fruit, certainly
take
dry
it easy,
fruit.
I
buddy.
want to say cashews on this one, to be honest with you. With a hint of
Some lemon.
unity.
Bob said that signatory kicked the shit out of KB
Ooh.
one night. I can imagine because he's not a sipper, right?
Ooh.
KB, he's kicking him back.
That's a roller coaster on the palate.
Yeah.
It starts
Bob's
out.
complaining about the put water on it.
I mean, it starts out creamy and silky and sweet, and then immediately goes peppery and
Yeah, it's got some spice on it for sure.
yeah,
It's not over the top though.
it's a damn good whiskey.
It's got almost a curry quality on the finish. It's really interesting because it's got a spicy note, but then
See that? Yeah,
but it's not a normal. It's not like a white pepper or something like that. It's something else. It's almost like a
it's a
chili
good
pepper.
spice. Yeah,
Yeah.
A couple drops of water on it.
So I'm not. I
Good
would have
stuff.
expected more potency of flavor at that ABV.
I think it's almost too high
Yeah, water it down a little bit.
because
I was you. I
you
put
know
water
me.
on
I'm
it,
like,
sure.
is that caster? Pour me another one of those, right? But I put water on this right away.
yeah, this
didn't even
isn't
think I
cask
could
strength.
approach
This
it.
is still strength, right?
It is.
Right?
That's what they put it in the barrel at.
This is like bathtub gin and prohibition kind of stuff, right? I mean, this will put an eye out. I'm just saying, you got to be careful with that.
Liquid butter.
Really?
There's like some
I do
butterscotch
get some
or
brown butter.
yeah, or toffee and
Brown butter nose on
Ooh,
it. Yeah.
That water really opens it up.
Mhm.
That's why I watered it
helps.
down
That
twice.
finish, the spice in the finish drops off.
Well, you get
It smooths it
The
out.
sweetness lingers.
a lot of that spice. I think is maybe the alcohol.
It's just the alcohol. Oh, sure. Yeah,
You're-
you get over 60%. Yeah.
You're still not killing this glass in any kind of hurry.
No. Yeah,
No.
this is a sipper.
So signatory 11.
It's good stuff.
All right.
That's interesting.
So the 10 is what, 3% higher?
Yeah. So it lost 3% one more year. Angels took
The
it.
Angels share.
I feel like it's volatile.
You guys want to see if it'll light?
If anybody's got a match, it'll
Over 70 is technically, hazmat, right?
Well, over 40% is technically flammable.
Actually, this does come with a warning. It says you will have to wear glasses after you take a drink.
I feel like we should all be wearing gloves and safety glasses for that one. That's,
Dr. Scotch, get up here.
right?
Why is my vision going bad after drinking this?
That would be poor cuts on. You got to cut out that methanol. It's not good.
I like it a lot, though. I mean, I love Dingston generally. They're just
Yeah,
so
it's not
good,
bad.
so underrated. Although they're getting a little more.
They're getting them a little more pressed
They're
down.
getting it. Yeah.
Drew better buy up his share before they get named
I've
Whiskey
got
of
it
the
watered
Year.
down really good right now. I've got it. I've got sweet spot, and it was a lot of water. It was.
I
it
put
was,
a liberal amount.
I think
on
I
mine, too.
watered 2 or 3 times to get it right.
I put a cord in.
Oh, yeah.
But it's definitely
Werther's Originals butterscotch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's delicious.
yeah.
There we go. It's getting better. Actually, that second round of water brought the heat back a little bit. I got a little more
Interesting.
alcohol.
That's the thing. I'm
Burn
not
to
getting
it.
enough. Typically, with this, you need a bunch of oil and alcohol or fusel alcohols in there to try and tame the alcohol content down. And
Mhm.
I'm not getting enough oil in here.
You know what might help? Some like burnt matches you could chew on later. That would be your wheelhouse.
If you had some phenol in there, it'd be great.
He's like, I can go out and on his porch, he's got a fire
Oh.
pit. I could probably get a piece
Now
of
I'm getting the
charcoal.
floral
If you
quality.
could just put one piece of charcoal
4
in there,
ounces of water.
Yeah.
like you
water.
put a block of ice in your
There we go.
whiskey, just put a little piece of charcoal in there. That'd be great.
I think it's good
Yeah.
now that I've got it.
Perfumey,
Here.
wildflower.
This one's definitely
I
the
like
one
it.
that you're gonna have
Yeah.
to figure out by the glass.
that's nice.
I don't think you
But you know
pour it
what?
and you
Now that I
gotta
put that much water on to get the
toy with it to get
the
it where it's that
wildflowers
sweet
out,
spot.
the
Otherwise,
mouth feels down. It doesn't have the flavor.
it's hard
it
to
had
enjoy.
before.
You're
I'm
right.
still on
It's
this
thin.
rum. This rum is just fantastic.
That really was good.
Pretty
rum.
amazing.
Hey Tom,
Right?
While you're still on,
And it's not
Man,
like
it's
crazy
just
expensive.
so buttery
Yeah, you
smooth.
could drink
what
that
was the
all
price
day long.
point on that El Dorado?
I want to
that
say
you
it's
bought?
like a bill, maybe about 20.
You mean Houston?
I mean, it's
No,
not
this
crazy.
this
Oh,
El Dorado.
sorry, Bob. We did add some water.
Had to, but you know what? This one was big enough that you got a lot out of it.
I mean, I liked it neat a lot too. I just wanted to see where it would go with a little water.
I mean, we went from
A little
curry
bit
to wildflowers.
Yeah.
And it
Butterscotch,
was, it was
toffee,
really
caramel.
complex.
Yeah.
So we are already 7 minutes over.
Yeah, I know,
So
but we got one more bottle to get into, so that's okay. We're not stepping. on
Hey,
anybody's
good morning
toes,
to
fine.
James. Sorry,
Yeah,
James in
just
Sweden.
right.
Cheers,
Oh,
buddy.
Nice. Cheers.
James, how you doing, buddy? I owe you some tasting notes. But you know what? That was one thing we forgot to talk about tonight. So we are still on hold for the whiskey or Scotch swap that we did because we still have the salsa swap. We still have one more guy to go on vacation. So once Sean gets back, it'll be within that week. We'll get the communication out and we'll schedule our hangouts, Google, Skype, whatever we're gonna do to get everybody together to talk about their tasting notes. So if anybody has not received their salsa, speak up now.
It's just 2. It's international folks. There's one that's being taken over by Lee right now. Thanks again, Lee. It's gonna
There's mine.
it's gonna go to Stuart, and then James has been waiting for a while.
yeah,
So-
it's been a week plus for him,
Yeah.
and it's
It's
going
a
to
couple. Yeah.
Going to customs?
Well, yeah, going overseas, it always takes longer going
Yeah.
overseas.
He was saying on Discord though that sometimes in Sweden it might be there in
His-
5 days. It might be.
His coming
Take 'em
this
on.
way got here
Yeah.
right quick because I got it sitting in my house.
So James, let us know if you've got any mail there yet. Probably not. It's still early. So
All right. Here we go.
Are you opening up the big dog? Is that one open? Someone tore it off. Yeah, go get it.
I got it.
Ooh, Bob's got 5 of those
Ooh.
Dingstons on hand.
Yeah. Come
Jeez.
over.
Oh, really?
We'll be right over.
Are you surprised? Bob doesn't have one of any bottle.
Nope. He doesn't know what that is.
He doesn't know how to buy in ones. Bob buys in fives.
Wow.
Even when they say one bottle per customer.
This one is
I
sweeter.
know somebody else that does that too.
It doesn't smell as hot.
It doesn't. That is true.
And I'm saying that right before I go
Hey.
blind.
No, it doesn't smell as hot.
No,
Said the
it's
devil.
it's very different.
These are all single casks.
That's a wild
Signatory? Yeah. I mean, casks sitting right next to each other can
Yep.
come out so different.
Yep.
That's a
Well,
wild
I mean, the wood, what fill it is, what was in it before,
Right.
how long that liquid sat in
Oh,
there.
shit.
I mean, there's so many variables.
Shoot.
Hey,
There's
Ooh.
something like good thing you have
I'm
to
all
walk
over
home.
grassy.
You don't want to drink all of that?
Man. And see, now it's getting hot on the nose.
Yeah,
I coated the glass.
Super
What's
hot.
You can put more in, but I didn't
What's
need that
yours?
much. You can take more if you need it, but I didn't need that much.
away hot on that.
There's a lot of layers in this one. There's a cotton candy on top, and then there's
Yeah, I
like
get that.
a deeper molasses note
I get
in there.
burnt butter
I got some kind of a grassy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I get
herbal
herbal, grassy.
on my hands. On my hands, I get burnt butter when I was wiping it off.
That's from dinner.
No, I won't.
You also washed your hands earlier.
We did have breakfast for dinner. You ever do that?
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Whole package of bacon, some eggs.
Nice.
Good stuff.
I made.
I know, but what spices did you use? Because when I walked in your house, it smelled like an Indian restaurant. I'm like, I don't know what that man put on that roast, but I want some of it.
Fresh thyme out of the garden, and
It's good.
some fresh cracked black pepper,
It's too hot.
a whole head of garlic.
You need a
I feel like that coated my mouth.
Yeah.
Like as soon as it touched my tongue, the whole mouth was.
The good news is I don't have to have my nose hairs trimmed anytime soon.
The thing was drier. I thought.
there.
Yeah,
So 67.5 is
Yeah,
about.
the finish is drier.
That's strong.
it's you're gonna want some water on that one,
They typically.
but it's real.
that's about
nice.
the ABV they barrel them at.
All right, I'm
So
hitting this with
my-
some water.
That tells me
I'm gonna
this-
put a drop on too. Sorry, Bob.
A drop?
you.
Yes, one drop.
That's crazy.
Some water on
So
it.
typically you put them in the
Some
barrel
water.
about 67.5.
Shout out to
ABV.
Jason.
I don't
So
know
this
what's
was either
there.
in essentially in a temperature controlled room that didn't change at all, and so there was no evaporation.
Yeah, but if there's no temperature change,
Black
the
coffee or something.
effect
Yeah.
on the liquid from the barrel is
I
going to
put
be
water on
minimal
it,
because
You're right.
without that temperature
very
change, you don't
different
get
now.
that flux in and out of the wood, right?
You're right.
Okay.
Or it's balanced so that it essentially.
There's a
So
a dark
in
chocolate
Kentucky,
note
it
now.
overproofs. In
That's what I'm getting out of it. Is it?
What?
in Scotland, it
cocoa.
deproofs.
So
So
dark chocolate.
maybe it's a
Mhm.
perfect
Yeah.
balance of heat
Super
and cold that the alcohol and the water evaporate at the same rate, and so it essentially doesn't change proof. It'll reduce in volume, but it won't change proof.
man. I'll tell you what. This will put you on the floor if you're not careful.
Yeah. Those are both really good scotches.
Wow.
All right, so
Wow,
several people
Bobby.
are checking out, so that's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
We've gone
We can
over.
switch over
Yeah.
to the Discord.
We can
anyway.
switch over to the Discord. We'll do that. So
Bob's telling us telling
Next-
us to take off the skirt.
next week, okay, Bob, the guy that just signed off and went to bed. Next
Oh, yeah, I
week,
think so.
we find out what region? Did anybody speak up
You've
about
got
regions?
Isla, you've got Space
You didn't
Side.
ask.
I
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
it
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He asked,
He was
yeah.
very specific and intentional about it.
I don't know. Shoot. Scroll up and find that. So
Here's
next week, we're
here's
talking
what I
about-
would say. Isla's last.
I say islands last. I say we go into the islands and
I'm
then
with you.
and then finish strong with Space Side. That's a
Space Side and Isla, yeah.
Look at
Yep.
the number of distilleries
Got
we have to
Island,
talk about.
Space Side.
I love
And
Space
then,
Side.
right. So I think we're going to go
I like
islands
too.
to next. So there's not a lot of distilleries there, but there's
But
definitely
they are well known and
absolutely
beloved.
Your Highland
Absolutely.
Parks,
Yeah.
your Taliskers.
Yeah,
right. Scapa,
Scapa.
Highland Park,
Yep.
Talisker, Jura.
Mm-hmm.
So
Aaron, right?
Aaron,
Yeah.
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 So we're going to talk about islands next week. Next week, this guy will be gone.
Hey.
Drew should
Be
be
on a
back in the seat. And I dare ask, are we going to get a review? Are we going to miss 2 in a row because we missed one? I mean, I don't know.
Well, we could do one.
Yeah, this is tough, guys.
Just upload without Drew's skilled editing hands.
If you've paid attention to the channel and you ever see that there's a different type of video,
Well,
where
Drew
it's not
was
the
back
4 of
there.
us, it's never a full review. We review with the 4 of us. If there's one missing, we'll do something else. We'll do a comparison, blind comparison. We'll shoot out something.
We are planning a zebra hunt.
Right, we are playing exactly. Someone's going zebra hunting. So anyway, we will have something next week, guys. It might not be a full-fledged review, but it'll be a video that we'll release on Monday. So next Thursday, same time, same place. I want to say thanks to the guests for coming.
Absolutely, thank you guys.
Thanks for having us. I've been
Thanks
meaning
for
you
having
down
us.
here for a
Yeah,
long
you
time.
guys,
Mr. Porter, thank
chat
you.
in
Always
the
a
back.
pleasure. Greg, always welcome. Fred.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
Chance.
Unpaid
Dr.
intern.
Scotch, wherever he went.
So,
Fred, there was a direct request for you to tell what your kind of first impression of Scotch is relative to.
oh, yeah, round us out. Talk to us, man. Talk to those folks out there.
It's really good.
I mean, you almost died tonight.
Right.
Yeah, I almost fell out of the chair.
That's how you know it was
Well,
a good
this-
night.
You almost died.
This Glenlivet.
Oh,
went
the
down
Nadura. Yeah, that's
that got hot for a second. I started sweating.
the 16-year.
It's fantastic. It's such a different flavor profile than bourbon. It's interesting.
There's a wide breadth of
Yes.
flavors, and you kind of have to dial into the stuff that you like.
Yeah.
I mean, because you won't like
But-
everything.
There's
It,
no
it
wrong
was
answers.
great, but I gotta tell you, I'm in love with that rum.
That was good.
So
One thing
good.
we didn't introduce you. We didn't, take you down the road of the Isla Scotches. So you didn't get anything really peaty. And I'm
No.
curious to know what you might think about that being such a cigar aficionado. I mean, you smoke cigars
Mhm.
on a regular basis. And so I would really like to know what you thought about a range of Isla whiskeys, because we can hit you in the face with something that's so
There you go.
smoky it's knock you out, or
Olive.
something really light.
Okay.
But a lot of people like to pair their peated whiskeys with
Maybe that's
a
party.
cigar. And
Let's
we do
try
as
one.
well. So all right, we'll find one here. We're going to take it into the Discord so everybody else can chop out. But thanks for joining, you guys. We will
Absolutely.
see you next Thursday. Have a good week. I hope it's better than ours. Ours has been crazy the last couple of weeks. It's just
We're going to get back to normal eventually.
We'll get on it.
well. We've got Halloween
You
coming
guys
up.
deserve
and we got,
breaks.
It's
the
whiskey
holiday
season, yeah.
season. So we will try to get back into full steam, especially for the holiday season.
We'll have to hit best of 2019. We'll have to. Christmas
Yeah, well, that's coming up.
bottling.
There's some
Sheesh.
interesting stuff coming up that you're going to start seeing some partnerships with us, with some local liquor stores here
Yes.
coming up.
Nice.
We're waiting for the Vine and Table Whiskey Expo to pass. We don't want to get in the way of that. But once that has passed, we're going to spend some
I'm gonna
time
have
in
to pick out my
D&T,
top
and
10.
it's going to be fun.
Jesus.
So
It's been a good year, huh?
I'm not
Everybody-
even prepared.
Cilantro.
Cilantro. Dummy. Oh, wrong channel.
That's fun.
Shout out
Dummy.
Scott and Bart.
Scott and Bart. Right on. Cheers, everybody. Good night.
Let me see if I can end this thing.
You try slapping us?
So what time does Rum for Dummies premiere next Wednesday?